It's welcome back to another point three live stream. All you point three people, Hero Scroll, Spider Bat Brando, Super Spider Bat Brando, maybe I don't know. More on that. And Lou here, guys. We have a very, very, very special live stream for you all. As many of you know, news came out the passing of Akira Toriyama after our last live stream. It happened over the weekend. So we're going to be deep diving Dragon Ball. But before we get into that, we know that all of you show up here to listen to the latest news and notes from your favorite superhero characters, stories, pop culture, you name it. We are going to talk about it. We're going to focus in a little bit. We have some bigger things that have come out per the usual after last Wednesday. So we're going to kick it off with a little bit of DC news coming from the Reeves Batman from Elseworlds. Spider Brando, what do we have going on with the Batman Part 2?
Nothing good, unfortunately. It's been delayed by a year until October 2nd, 2026. Insert sad trombone noises.
Wah, wah.
Thank you. Oh, doesn't... It's 2025, still a great year for superhero movies, but it would have been icing on the cake to have gotten Batman 2 in there also. But if they're tweaking it to make it better and be perfect, I'm sure it'll be worth it.
This makes me think DC has something in their back pocket, Batman related, for 2025. And not Elseworlds, like official canon Batman, because it's weird to just move a movie that isn't in production yet a full year. That's a long time.
Yeah.
But as long as the movie's good, I'm down to wait. The only thing is that'll be close to 5 years since the original. So it's a long wait.
Yeah. I don't think any of this hurts DC as a whole. Right. I know we were kind of looking forward to the year of DC making their triumphant return back to the big screen with, that double whammy of a sequel for Batman and obviously Superman coming out and kicking off the official start of DCU, just reestablishing the quality of the brand itself. However, I know we've talked about this a few times that, the comparison between the MCU and the DCU, what's going to happen, right? Perception will matter, and having both of those two star characters, 2/3 of the Trinity, carrying and just shouldering the weight of the DCU, even though that it's, Elseworlds included. I still think Superman can carry. Superman literally is going to be in that position, the solo, the summer box office for superhero genre. So for me, it's okay that it's pushed. It doesn't hurt. And I think the cool thing is because it's its own. Like, yeah, 5 years might go by, but we're still getting the story. Like, we're not waiting on that to further a main storyline, which is kind of why things were pretty sweet, pre 2008, just from that standpoint. If something does happen, so it is. So not a huge deal, but what else we got? Hero Scroll.
Something that got pushed up and got an official title announcement in the same day. Venom 3 is going to be titled Venom: The Last Dance. It got pushed up about a week or so, from November 8th of this year to October 25th. So we get to see it just a little bit early. How are you guys feeling on The Last Dance subtitle?
I have no idea what the heck it means.
Bro,
I don't even know what to think.
Like, it's such... The Last Dance is reserved for the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan and the final era of their championship run together. Like, it's a weird... I'm sorry, I don't love it. I think it's a weird title. Last Dance, when everyone's looking for your character to catapult into the MCU and expand and do all this other stuff, and you're the Sonyverse, If this is the last dance for Sony, then great. I'm there. I will love to see that. But it doesn't sound like that's the case. And to me, this is on the surface a very odd title.
Yeah. It what a weird trilogy, right? Because it's like Venom, Let There Be Carnage, Venom the Last Dance. It's like I get that we've had 3 movies to be with them, like Venom and Eddie, but it doesn't even feel like it's their last hurrah. And it doesn't feel deserved either, because
No.
Carnage should have felt like this huge thing, but then he just came and went, which is really unfortunate for Carnage's big debut on the silver screen. So it's like, what can be bigger than that? And then it's like, if Null comes out, which I really hope doesn't, and that's just us spitting just potential crazy Sony things that Sony might get the crazy idea for. Yeah, no, I don't know. Keep it far away from anything. Let it be its own thing, and let them fight another symbiote that's a little bit bigger than Venom again, and that's it. Let that be the end, and then we forget about this trilogy.
Yeah, it's just anyways, sticking with a spider-ish character. Isn't that wild? Venom isn't even like, it's your last dance. You don't even have like the symbol yet and that kind of stuff. Like, anyways, it is reported that the events from the Disney Plus series Daredevil Born Again will lead directly into Spider-Man 4. Major spoiler potentially here for everyone. Daredevil Born Again will lead directly into Spider-Man 4, with Kingpin being the villain of Street Level Heroes, and he will most likely be the main villain in Spider-Man 4. The script is currently in the works. SB, we've talked about this. We had a nice long conversation. Is this what we need? Is this what the fans want?
Yes, and yes. As cool as the multiversal story could be, it's been done already. Give us the street. Enter us into the streets of a crazed superhero society. And I would like it. I want to see some. I've said every episode we talk about Spider-Man and Daredevil, and I'm gonna say it again. I need to see them on the damn screen together. And then I will cry tears of joy. So it'll be cool. It'll be cool to get people interested in Daredevil Born Again, knowing that it leads into Spider-Man 4. So just from like cross promotion standpoint, it'll work out pretty well.
The only thing I'm kind of worried about is the director thing, with John Watts not expected to come back and Marvel not really wanting to. It's an odd choice, because if you look at a video we did a long time ago, ranking the Marvel trilogies, we saw that the trend typically was that if there was different directors and writers, typically your trilogy ranking went lower because of the weird dip in quality and the way that some writers and directors will pick up certain things and others won't. I don't. I know that Spider-Man 4 will have a different tone and vibe to it, because it's going to be him a little more grown up, obviously. But if it feels too different, even for Tom, like Tom Holland's Spider-Man, I think that might lose some people. And for him to continually be ramping up the problems and then go down to, and it's not a bad thing, I would say, but to go down all the way to Kingpin as the main villain, again, I think it could work under the right circumstances, but we've seen a lot from Spider-Man already.
Mm-hmm.
And even though he's erased from everybody's memory, he still has that experience. Like, he's a seasoned veteran at this point for in our eyes. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I like street level Spider-Man, and I think it could work very well within the MCU. But I think something that even you guys talked about in that video, make sure you guys go watch that if you haven't, by the way. But where does the symbiote fall in all of this? Because that's something that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Do I want to see Daredevil and Spider-Man together on a street level? Yes. Here's my concern. When you say that a movie with the caliber of character and the ace of the MCU, Spider-Man, is going to take on really the main villain for Daredevil, it automatically in my mind is slotting the importance of Disney Plus and slotting the importance of Daredevil as a whole and making him from an A tier to a B tier. And if Kingpin's going to be the villain of Spider-Man 4, obviously he's going to survive. Daredevil may lose, whatever characters may lose, right? There's enough of a threat and Kingpin's enough of a problem that Spider-Man is on his radar or vice versa. I just think that this is going to set the wrong expectation for fans looking at this of where this is going to lead right into. I don't think the MCU Kingpin is at the point where he deserves to be a main villain of a movie, personally. I don't feel like he's the big bad yet. Born Again may do that. That's great. But there are going to be a lot of things that people are looking for and expecting for these three characters that I think, because there's so much going on, all aspects of this are going to fall short, personally. Obviously, this is without any context, right? I know nothing about these films and just learned this, but just based on how the MCU is kind of shaping up today, you would expect that Born Again would be on the scale that a movie really would. I'm not talking about the movies spliced in the episodes. I mean, just the implications, the impacts, the crossovers. But it just feels like they're serving it up to Spider-Man. For Spider-Man to knock out of the park, to give Sony its cut, and for MCU and Feige to Bob Iger to say, like, we gave you a great movie. I don't think that's the play. And I personally think that this specifically is a mistake. And shout out to Rumors. I love you, insiders. It's just this just doesn't seem like the play. It just doesn't seem like the play. Something feels off.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's like a lot of these insiders, we're going to skip over it. We're not going to talk about it. But if you saw a certain Fantastic Four synopsis, sometimes it makes things too confusing and muddies the waters a little too much. And even with Spider-Man 4, normally one of the big things that I guess makes Spider-Man Spider-Man is seeing how he juggles all of his personal problems and juggles that with being Spider-Man. And Kingpin could fall into that, but right now this version of Kingpin doesn't feel, kind of like you said, it doesn't feel like he would do that. He would just be concerned with Spider-Man. Now, what could maybe work is if they have someone else be a secondary villain in terms of all of this. But then Sony messed that up because honestly, a very good secondary villain could have been Vulture again, bringing him back. But he's in God knows where with Morbius. So,
Michael Keaton doesn't even know where.
Yeah, Michael Keaton doesn't even know where he's at. So it's like, it makes me weary. It makes me weary. And also knowing that potentially from the other rumors that we've seen that these two studios have kind of been fighting back and forth in what they want this movie to be. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, yeah, it's going to be somewhere in the middle. And it really feels like Marvel, at least Marvel right now, right? They could prove us wrong, but Marvel right now can't handle a in the middle kind of movie.
But here's the interesting thing in Spider-Man. I think you had mentioned something in our Discord. This same scooper gave us a scoop on Marvel Studios and Sony are almost coming to an agreement. To Hero Scroll's point, that Spider-Man 4 will be a street level film, right? That lines up with the following of Born Again. Release in early 2026, should be on the heels of the show. But Sony is demanding that includes Sony Spider-Man characters: Norman Osborn, Eddie Brock's Venom, Kraven the Hunter, Miles Morales, Scorpion, Mysterio, while also having one MCU hero appear and the multiverse ending setup. Spoiler warning. That sets up Toby and Andrew's return for a future film. Like, this just sounds like an absolute mess coming from the same person who's leaking this stuff. But that just doesn't sound clean, doesn't sound great. And you want Kingpin to be the villain for that, but you want to bring other characters back in, and then you have the symbiote and all these leftover things for Spider-Man. And it's just, I don't know. I just don't feel good, obviously, about the MCU, but I just don't feel that the handling of Tom Holland's Spider-Man at this point is meant to honor the character of Spider-Man. I feel like it's an easy way to grab some cash, inflate your box office, and get more eyes so that you can try to recover the overall multiversal story. That's what a lot of this stuff that I'm hearing about this movie feels like to me.
The thing is, though, if what they really wanted, though, was that big cash grab and to make it a multiversal thing, they very well could. I mean, you guys had some great takes on what they could do if that's the route they wanted to go. But again, that weird middle ground of being like, majority has to be this, and then this weird ending out of nowhere to set up, for some reason, Toby and Andrew again, when we know Sony probably isn't going to handle properly, if at all, another Toby and Andrew. Because I know fans have been saying they want it, but let's be realistic. If they do, Marvel Studios is not going to have a say in that movie. That's going to be a full Sony production. And we see how those go.
I mean, but
it's a track record at this point.
But if you think about it, though, it's been long rumored that Tobey Maguire's open to coming back. He wants to share screen with Hugh Jackman. He would love to share screen with Robert Downey Jr. Set up your Secret Wars, set up your multiversal stuff. The legacy group of team is going to lead the multiversal Avengers. That's fine, and that all fits with where it's at. The concern here is, and it's no secret, that Disney Plus shows aren't must-see. There are a lot of movies that aren't must-see. There is a lot that is hinging for Secret Wars to even touch what Infinity War and Endgame even did. Go watch our Disney Plus show because you need that to watch our movie. And oh, by the way, our movie is going to set up our big movies. So when you really want to see these characters full go, you got to check that out too. That seems like something that is right up Sony's alley. And the MCU is like, guess what? We're gonna shake hands on that one because we need a lot of the more help than we probably have ever asked for in the past.
True.
I don't know. The pro of this, though, I'll put it this way to kind of leave it on a positive spin. The pro is that if this inserts more spider-like characters into the MCU, such as a Miles Morales on a live-action basis that they can use on a go-forward, but they still keep that Sony, Marvel Studios relationship, they're just passing the torch because at some point Tom Holland will walk away and the story will go on. I'll take that. If there's going to be a setting up of a passing of a torch to another spider-like character, it's fine. That'll be a win. Enough.
Yeah. And if he gets to interact more with other MCU, it could, and that's what I think we all feel, is that this could work. There's definitely a way for it to work. It's just a lot of mess to get through and a lot of hurdles to jump through to get it to work in that way. So hopefully Marvel can, though.
Yeah. All right. Spider-Man, any last thoughts on that you're looking forward to?
I'm excited
All right.
for it, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to. I got way into the No Way Home leaks and rumors and lore going into it. I'm trying not to be like that for Spider-Man 4.
That's fair.
Well, we're gonna have to spoiler warning you from now on.
Well, that's not what I meant. I meant
I'm
like,
just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
But watch this space.
I meant like being like obsessed with it. Like I'd be, dude, my pre No Way Home days are crazy. I'd be
This
on
is one that,
Twitter 24/7, just like looking at the hashtags.
that's a perfect sign of the times, though. I wish we could do that right now. I wish we could do that for a lot of projects, but you have to be cautiously optimistic for a lot of things. And I think the three of us collectively are probably more optimistic on a lot of these projects, MCU specific, than a lot of others. It can work. The hard part is just we're looking at what they're delivering now, and then you have to be like, I'm just going to put all that aside and just assume it's all going to change. That's tough. There's a lot of moving parts that will be associated with these projects that are supposed to be heavy hitters, to where you're definitely going to have people that are going to do exactly what you said, Spider-Brando. Like, I need to check everything and know everything about this movie. And Reddit's already popping off for some of this stuff, and it's crazy. And like the rabbit holes run super deep. But something to monitor, and this is going to be, I'll say this, of all the things that we're doing, and if you heard us last time, we're having these series that are going to be coming up, and we do have Road to Spider-Man 4 kind of on the map here, and just it's going to be interesting to see how this develops from a public perception standpoint. That's the biggest thing for this. Characters are going to be great. All that other stuff is going to be fantastic. But those little things surrounding it, how is this the hype going to build to this? It'll be very fun to see.
The first thing will probably be when they officially announce the subtitle of the movie.
Yeah.
I think that'll be
And
the first
director.
big and
Yeah.
director. Yeah. Those will be the first two big, like, all right, this is where we can get an idea of maybe where this is going to go. So watch this space though, because we will be reporting on it. We'll be talking about it all year long. We'll talk about more rumors and whatnot. So again, you make sure you subscribe if you haven't, because this is where it's at. We really try to filter out what's worth talking about and what's not.
100%. All right.
But into our special segment.
It's my drum roll.
Today.
It was my drum roll fingers. I don't know what I was doing.
It was perfect. But if you guys haven't heard, Akira Toriyama died March 1st of 2024. Passed away suddenly from I think it's a subdural hematoma, which is like a blood clot in the head. I think they released saying that he was eventually going to be going into a surgery for a brain tumor, and he passed away suddenly. So everybody's still grieving that, his loss, right? A huge part of the anime community, the manga community. I mean, quite honestly, every community you can think of, because his influence was everywhere. And I do mean everywhere, and we'll get into that in a minute. But we're going to be talking about just him a little bit, and also just our favorite Dragon Ball moments, because obviously one of his biggest works was, and let's be honest, probably the biggest work, Dragon Ball, right? And I think the work that at least the three of us are most involved and care about the most, right? But that's not to say that he didn't do a lot more, because he did. He was gaming. I think he worked on cars at one point, if I remember reading correctly. But games like Dragon Quest, one of the biggest RPGs of all time, Chrono Trigger. Again, Dragon Ball, we see that influence be referenced in movies, other animes, TV shows, video games. The amount of video games that have been based off of the Dragon Ball property alone and the revenue that that's brought in is quite simply unheard of. And the love that people have for Dragon Ball, I think, is understated and underappreciated today. Because if you, at least from what I've seen within the anime community at times, if you're not a hardcore anime guy, you know, if Dragon Ball is your favorite, then you kind of like shun to the side. But in reality, if it isn't for Dragon Ball here in America and everywhere, really, you don't get the popularity, the rise in popularity of anime now. So again, all this because of one man's creation. That man's name is Akira Toriyama.
R.I.P.
Yeah, I was gonna say this. Was one of those things where I woke up in the morning, and oddly enough, it was one of those nights where I actually put my phone away a little bit earlier, so I didn't see the notifications, I didn't see the Discord, I didn't see any messages, I didn't see anything. And I went through my normal wake up and all that kind of stuff, and I checked my phone just to see, and I was like, "Well, what happened?" You know what I mean? Like something happened. And it was just one of those things that was like soul crushing, lump in your throat, chest felt a little tight. And I swear, I told you guys stories about my love for Akira Toriyama and the Dragon Ball series in general. Like that was my youth. And I just thought of so many personal moments and so many times to where I chose that show or chose those characters or chose Dragon Ball over some actually important things because I was so passionate and I loved it so much, and I still do to this day. And that's why over the course of the rest of this live, I hope that we do enough to, in our own way as the Point 3 podcast, honor what was given to us. And it was life-changing for a lot of people, for millions of people. Life-changing characters and stories and moments. And one of the coolest things that I'll say, and we can talk about whatever if you guys want to say something else. I think I sent it in Discord, and you guys know this, but one of the coolest things is there was a character that was created who was beloved by so many, who was written in such a way that it's up and down, but that you can say a word, the Kamehameha, and you get people who just rally behind that battle cry like word randomly. I can't tell you how many times I said that growing up. You just hear people saying it. You can post it on TikTok or Twitter or something, and you get people in the comments that are finishing off the word for you. Like, it's just such a cool community, and it was just awesome. And it will be missed to have the creative mind behind it who shared with other people. Am I going to watch Daima now? Absolutely. I maybe didn't want to at first, but I think I'm definitely going to. Yeah, no, it's just tough.
I was very upset. Still am. I remember I had seen the news at like 1 a.m., 12:30, just in my demon hours. Terrible. Sent it to you guys, a couple of my other Dragon Ball friends immediately, and we were all just shocked. I stayed up most of that night just scrolling through Twitter and seeing other people's reactions, other artists' reactions to it. And you know how impactful someone is when your entire For You page or like feed is just references, media, people, other people being grieving as well. But what really broke me the most was hearing Oda and Kishimoto's responses and their statements. I saw that at like 1:30 in the morning. I started bawling my eyes out, man. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah.
I think one person had that much influence on being able to keep pushing two other people to create such great animes that have spawned hundreds of other influences from their work. It's insane. Like, I've even ever since he passed, I've learned more about Toriyama and like really how influential he was. I didn't really notice, like, I never knew that Oda and Kishimoto were his students and stuff like
Mhm.
that, and were really influenced by it. So when I had read that, I was like, damn. Just imagine a world with no Dragon Ball, One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen, probably Sonic, Pokemon. Like, it's crazy to think how much he influenced and was able to inspire people to keep moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think there was. I would say he's probably, for me, the first largest penetrator of the Western culture
Yes.
across all different race and ethnicity. I mean, it's one thing that, like, truthfully saw no color, saw no gender. Like, you were just a fan. Like, people rallied with you. At least that was my experience growing up.
Yeah.
And it's in kind of the age that we are now, it's enough that like people are repping this, and as they get older, and it's just like, oh dang, like I didn't know you got done like that, and then it's like, oh, since day one kind of stuff, and it's just cool. It goes a little bit deeper than kind of what you're mentioning, the One Pieces of the world and those types of things. I think Dragon Ball Z specifically it bridged a lot of generational gaps in a lot of ways.
And
Even my mom is obsessed with Dragon Ball and Piccolo just from growing up with me.
Piccolo, bro, always. The
Yeah,
older
her favorite
generation always
character is
vibes with Piccolo.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say it's something that keeps happening to this day.
Mhm.
It's insane to really see, especially like on my Instagram, which I follow a lot, and I mean a lot of comic book artists, comic book writers, how much they have come out and specifically shown like early designs, early drawings that they used to do of like Dragon Ball and stuff, and being like, this is what really influenced me and helped me get to where they are today, where they're some of these people you can argue some of the best in the game right now, and changing the way that Marvel and DC comics look like current day,
Mhm.
and how much they're like, yeah, if it's not for Toriyama's art and his style and all of it,
Bro, style all day.
we're not here. And that's such an insane thing to think about, how this guy touches every medium in some way, and that's virtually unheard of.
Mhm.
There are creators out there, I would say, just a handful that really do that in the span and scope that he did, and in the way that he was able to, since when was Dragon Ball created?
84.
84. Since
Mhm.
84 onwards, to keep going till 2024, how people and kids are still like, yo, Dragon Ball is amazing. Where even my brother-in-law, the youngest one, he just got into Dragon Ball. I think like a couple months ago, and he was like, yo, this is amazing. And I'm like, I
Legit.
know. Tell me what you feel when you finish it. And he's like,
Oh, man,
Vegeta's my favorite. And I'm like, me too. And I'm like, it just keeps going. And I don't think it's something that's ever going to stop, because his work, not just Dragon Ball, all the other things too. Dragon Quest keeps going. The cries for something Chrono Trigger related have been loud for years.
Mhm.
That's just harder because of copyright stuff and ownership. But man, like, he was able to do so much, and I think people just kind of forget because Dragon Ball was the biggest thing. But you even look at how that influenced things like early YouTube, where Dragon Ball Z abridged, because of the love that they had for the show, decided,
Mhm.
what if we kind of, redid the show, and then the wave of other abridged series that brought on,
Yeah.
and Death Battle, Superman versus Goku, the cries that they had for that, the early Vegeta ones. I mean, again, he influenced everything in one way or another, and that's unheard of.
Man. I should we tell all the point through people who our favorite character is?
Go for it. Mine's
No.
Vegeta.
Just boom, looking for this.
Yeah.
Man. I thought about this after I said it the other day, and I was like, is it Vegeta? But I'm still sticking with Goku. I'm still sticking. It was Gohan for the longest time.
Ooh.
But I respect Vegeta, but Goku has my heart. Goku has my heart. You ever run like that mile test and you're like, damn, Goku would keep going.
Every time.
Always just keep pushing the limits. I'm like, fine. Yeah, Goku. No pressure. Spider-Man, no.
That's all pressure by throwing it to me. I'm gonna go with my favorite as Vegeta. His character development alone.
You're just so money.
So
So
his
money.
story arc is just great. The fact that I could say a space freaking not good person at first is my favorite character. Just all you need to know of Vegeta.
Name another show that taught you growing up about redemption, mercy, love, all that kind of stuff. I mean, think about Goku for the longest time, not deathing people. Of like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm stronger. I beat you. You're done. Like, go home, kind of thing. Where he's just like, I just can't. That goes back to like a Batman type of feel of establishing a character, of like when you really root a character deep, like really deep, and showcase that to the point where they are the ultimate power and that they do show mercy. Say what you want about Goku and his flaws, but it is one of the best representations I've ever seen to what it looks like and how you deal with the repercussions when that opposing force is relentless and keeps coming after you. How strong are you of a character or person to keep stepping up, to elevate, to stop them? Like, rarely do you see a story that's continuously told, even in the outlandish power scaling that Dragon Ball has. And I'm mainly referring to Goku's rivalry with Vegeta at first, but then also with Frieza. Goku didn't tell Krillin, hey, don't do it, right? And he doesn't deserve it. And he's like, what do you mean? Like, he just literally killed our entire crew. And you want to leave him alive? You want to let him go? Like, I could end him right here and this problem is done. But if I don't, what if he decides to come back? And he's like, then I'll stop him again. That's just what I do. And you're like, damn. But then the influence that he had on Vegeta when he happened, he's like, why? Like, why would you do that? Like, as a superior combatant or opponent is inferior, that equals death. If you're not the best, then there's nothing to live for. And it just kind of changed such a mindset. And he was so strong in his ways that is one of my favorite things, and probably my favorite chunk of Dragon Ball was that. And that Vegeta Goku, however many million episodes it was that didn't finish, and I had to wait and go to school, and I'm like, yeah, dang, like they talked for half the episode. Why? Like, I like get it on. I digress.
No, great point though, because that even goes into Frieza.
Mm-hmm.
And I was even gonna say that into freaking Boo also.
Even with Boo.
This man straight up said to Boo, "I hope you're reborn as someone good this time." That's wild. Someone that's pure evil and just changed freaking life form.
Killed everybody.
Killed everybody.
Everyone.
Yeah, killed everybody. It's just the fact that you could still say that to someone after all the evils that they did just shows how good of a heart Goku had. Like,
And
that's crazy.
Just I'm trying to do my favorite Rock impression where he shows off his goosebumps all the time for some reason. And just thinking about we're talking about how this character development goes along, right? And Dragon Ball has that in spades, right? And I think people don't always think about it, but what they do think about and what just adds to all the character development is the hype that surrounds this. Where even the Majin Buu, where he's telling him, "I hope you come back as a great person." You got Bruce Faulkner ripping the guitar in the background, Buu holding a spirit bomb back, and he just turns Super Saiyan, and it's like, that's so cool.
Yeah,
it's so cool, and it makes you want to be better. Where it's like that's the type of greatness that I want to achieve. And Goku is the pinnacle of that. Still to this day, and I think forever will be for a lot of people, where comparing it to Western comics, Superman should be that. But I would say he's not. A lot of people want to be other characters, but almost everybody can universally agree that if they could, they would be Goku.
Heck yeah. To that point, I want to bring it up. You brought up about Goku inspiring. My coworker is a big Dragon Ball fan, so he's been upset since the news also. I was talking to him yesterday, and he said that he wants to start getting to the gym again and getting training to be like Goku.
Oh my gosh. Have you looked up the Goku training regiments and stuff?
Oh my god, I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want to think about it. I've watched him do all that stuff on the show. Catch me not outside.
There
did
will
like a million push-ups on his way to Namek. Get the heck out of here.
Listen, we should do that, a 0.3 Goku workout and then a 0.3 One Punch Man workout.
Oh god.
And see which one of us gets superpowers first.
Oh god.
Just to be a pinnacle of humans. Real quick though, while we're on the topic of characters and just how Toriyama wrote them and how easy it was for them to adapt these characters into an anime, I don't think it matters, anime or manga, whichever one you read. For me personally, I've read and watched over and over again for many years. I think the closest rivalry that you get to where two characters grow to love each other, but also push each other to obviously limits beyond what's thought of or attainable. It's just so funny. I always think of before they face Cell, and Trunks and Vegeta go in first, and Gohan and Goku wait. They go into the hyperbolic time chamber, and they come out. And Trunks and Vegeta, they just have that flex going on of we're easily the two of the strongest people. Vegeta thinks he's the strongest person. Trunks is like, I know I'm stronger than you type of thing. But just the way that they walk out, and Goku is like, okay, that's great that you guys do that, but we're going to go in because we know that you're not enough, right? We're going to push ourselves. And they always had that dynamic. And then I think they do a really good job in Super of them pushing, and then you get into, I don't know how far you guys are, but I think they finally got to a really cool point where it's not 1-to-1, right? Where it's like, my base is stronger than your base. My Super Saiyan 1 is stronger than your Super Saiyan 1. My 2 is bigger than your 2, 3, whatever. And then GT level of 4 and why they do those things. But finally in Super, it's nice that people are finding their own identity and really leaning into who they are as their core. But you still have that rivalry. And it just is one of the best stories told between two characters that were complete strangers that randomly met each other in a way to just be kind of like, it's weird, just like that soulmate type of character, but not in a romantic way that we typically see that's written when characters have such a parallel and side by side and they move together in so many ways. It's very different. It's difficult. And I think it's one of the most impressive long run rivalries that maybe we've ever really gotten.
Yeah.
I would say so. I want to bring up the two other characters that he wrote that is not so much a rivalry, but companionship between Gohan and Piccolo.
Money.
Great father-son type mentor, mentee.
Grasshopper.
Mentori? I don't know. Oh, grasshopper.
The old
Sorry.
Mentori from
Yeah. Type stride. And just seeing them in, I'm not gonna spoil I forgot what the last movie was called. The Superheroes, yes.
Which
Seeing that dynamic and them two together was just like, that's a chef's kiss, man. I got to throw one up there. That was beautiful to see there too. Like back in action, working together great again. And it brings up how the Sonic designer from one of the designers from Sonic named Yasushi Yamaguchi. I probably butchered that. I'm so sorry. Explained how he modeled Sonic and Tails' relationship after Piccolo and Gohan. So it even stems just he's took a whole relationship dynamic from a different work to use it in their own stuff. So it just reiterates how good his freaking character development and writing is for these characters. But I like Piccolo Gohan. Two, I'd say kind of underrated characters compared to the rest of the Dragon Ball verse.
Yeah. Probably one of the better. I mean, a lot of characters get lost from Dragon Ball to Z, and then after Raditz and the Vegeta, the Saiyan saga ends. But I love the growth between like King Piccolo, Tien, obviously Jackie Chun with Master Roshi, Yamcha. Bulma was cool to be around. Like that whole crew came together. At one point, like, look at it now. I mean, let's forget about the extreme power creep that Roshi got in Super, which makes absolutely no sense. But
that Tien didn't get for some reason.
Yeah, just sprinkle a little bit to the Earth-based characters, but this guy is like, you got to fight like a multiversal or universal war. Like, I'm game. Like, dog, where have you been through this entire series? Anyways, some of the better Earth-based stories of like every character once Goku conquered them or overcame them, like added to the team. Like that was a very fun ride until they all got iced by Cybermen. But it was cool before leading up to it. So if you are someone who's never seen Dragon Ball and you go back, stomach some of the Red Ribbon stuff, but it does get pretty cool. And there are a lot of moments. And if you're someone who loves tournaments and just builds to tournaments, Dragon Ball has some of the best tournaments scattered from Dragon Ball to Z to Super across any manga or anime, hands down.
Yeah. It's funny because I personally like the Red Ribbon stuff.
A lot of people hate on it when they go back after, but I like it. I always go back and I think it's fun. But it's more adventurous.
That's the thing. It's not I think people who don't like it are the ones that watch Z and then go back expecting 100%. More of Z. And it's like, no, you got to realize is that Z was a big like maturing of Dragon Ball in a way.
Yeah.
Where it was very different.
Yeah.
It's actually quite jarring if you go from Dragon Ball to Z, how different they feel.
But so cool when you did though.
Especially the US version of Dragon Ball Z and not the Kai or
Yeah,
I don't love. I don't.
Yeah, we could talk about dubs and different versions all day, but like if you do the OGZ that we all watched early on, it's very different, but still incredibly cool because the base 4Z is still there.
Mhm.
Like a lot of that carries over, and those
Mhm.
those things where they find ways to bring it back, where the Red Ribbon Army is responsible for Cell and stuff, and they expand upon Goku's lore and his backstory, something that
Yeah.
in reality wasn't really questioned in Dragon Ball. So I don't know, man. It just goes to show you how good Toriyama was to really continue the story and give you characters that you can love in each version. Where if you go back and you watch Dragon Ball, I was gonna say
Krillin's my
Krillin.
dog.
Krillin's the MVP, and Tien was cool. King Piccolo. And then you go into Z, and then it's like, oh man, Vegeta and Frieza, Cell, all these other characters that Trunks, that it's like, oh, they're so cool to love. And then it continues into other things as well, like GT, where even though, yeah, GT's probably the least fondly remembered one, but there's moments in there where we're all like, yeah, GT rocks.
There were definitely some moments. I don't know about this whole like minimizing characters thing that you like to do, but GT, I personally like GT, and I think Super Saiyan 4 Goku's fantastic, and that's why I spend probably too much time on Dragon Ball fan made stuff when I see Super Saiyan. Like I'm a big fan of who's gonna win, Super Saiyan Blue or 4. Yeah, just
why not Super Saiyan 4? Why not Super Saiyan Blue 4?
that's fine. That's fine. Get some pliers, pull a tail out of somebody's butt, turn blue, and let's make it happen. I did think that they were gonna do that when Broly. I was like, oh my gosh, is this it? Like, is he 4? Is that what they're gonna do?
It really did feel like Broly was 4 for a little bit. It really did. But I'm glad it wasn't.
Mhm.
But that's a conversation for another day. But kind of let's get into what the main title of the video is, our favorite Dragon Ball moments. So I don't think we're gonna do any specific order because I think this can change at let's be honest, any minute of the
Any
day.
given moment.
Yeah, the more we think about it. So what are some of your guys' favorite Dragon Ball moments? And this ranges from everything for those watching at home. This is from Dragon Ball all the way up to Super.
Listen, I'll start this one part off with, for Dragon Ball specifically, my fondest memory, I wouldn't say this is my favorite thing, but my fondest memory is when Goku's first learning the Kamehameha. And he finally, like, there's the Ox King and all that kind of stuff happens, and he puts the fire out with the Kamehameha, and you're just like, oh, that's so cool. When now they're like using it to blow planets up, but whatever. So it was always fun to see like the training and the learning and like him and Krillin, and they're on the same page. Like it was just a moment. It was like a group and a chunk of episodes. When you fast forward to Z, it is definitely still, and I thought about this after we talked about it, and I had to double down. Definitely my favorite moment was the beam battle between the Gallic Gun and the Kamehameha. And Vegeta's still stronger, because that's always a debate. Who's stronger? Who's stronger? Who's stronger? But when Goku kicks that Kaioken up, screams, puts his foot into the rocks, blasts it even further, and smokes this fool in the space, and he comes crashing down the earth, Goku is just broken for the next, God knows, like 30 episodes. But for Z, that was like the pinnacle of pushing beyond your limits and the precursor to what I always feel. And I always think of this. I know it's this Dragon Ball thing, but whenever I think of All Might and Plus Ultra and going beyond, I always go back and I think of Goku always pushing and taking his 100 to 200% to 300% to 400% to 500, completely unrealistic, and only it's something Goku can really do. But I'm like, can I do it? Can I do it? But yeah,
Even like Asta from Black Clover's saying push past your limits.
mm-hmm.
Goku's all about pushing past his limits, man.
Yeah.
But dude, you brought up the whole Gun Kamehameha fight. Do you remember doing that shit on one of the freaking Budokai Tenkaichis and how annoying it was to spin around the little freaking thumbstick? I still got nightmares of fucking
that in wrestling.
I was gonna say my
yeah, 100%.
My hand is
just shiny when I got done.
Yeah,
that would happen. I'm like, but I'm actually just going back and forth. I'm not even going in a circle.
Yeah, good. Thank you for bringing up that core memory of just
I got you. Dude,
rubbing the skin off of my hand.
Those Budokai Tenkaichi games were something else, man. I can't wait for that reboot.
Sparking Zero.
Yeah, Sparking Zero. So sweet. Technically,
sweet trailer.
Tenkaichi 4.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. I'm so excited.
Sweet trailer.
Yeah. Sticking on point with beams, Vegeta's Final Flash. We kind of talked about it on our own personal time together, but as I thought about it more and I looked it up after, I'm like, the first time that Vegeta uses Final Flash where he finally switches signature moves, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good, from everything from the point in the battle that he uses it in on Cell, and the music and the anime and him charging it up, the flashing of it, and like him clearly struggling to like contain this beam. And then when he shoots it, it's just this giant, unlike anything we've seen in a minute from a Kamehameha wave, honestly. It's so good. It's so good.
It's so good.
So good.
And Final Flash, that's such a cool name.
All right. I'm going to ask you this. Doesn't matter. Any game, you're building your Dragon Ball character. You can refer to one specifically where you did this or just make up your own thing. You have to equip one finisher for Vegeta. Gallic Gun, Big Bang Attack, Final Flash. Which one do you pick?
Final Flash. 100%. Dude, Final Flash and Xenoverse. Specifically Xenoverse 1 was in like every one of my freaking move sets. Oh my god, that thing was so overpowered.
Yeah, he I was gonna say Final Flash because even my my Xenoverse Frieza race man, Cold. That's literally what I named him. His name was Colder. Had Final Flash. Did he need it? No, absolutely not. But he had it because they let me do it. And I was like, yeah. So
legit.
Final Flash.
Legit. I'll third that. There's some Gallic Gun truthers out there that are just will die on that hill, and I'm like, it ain't gonna take that much life away. But I'm like, wait a second. The funny thing about that is like it's just such a base move.
Yeah.
But if they were to do that, like, at some point, like they do some things, right? But yeah.
The day that Vegeta brings it back will be the day that everybody goes crazy.
Yeah. Well, no spoilers. Maybe.
I don't think I've said my favorite moment yet. So
no, yeah, you're up.
I will lead off with, I don't know. I have so many running through my mind right now. I'm not gonna I think my favorite is probably either Super Saiyan 1 for the first time on Namek. So many moments in that Namek scene. I want to do like a 1A and 1B for that alone. But my top is probably Super Saiyan 1 first time or Ultra Instinct first time. So I found the clip that I was telling you guys about of like me recording it and like my reaction. Wow. I had a funny reaction. And that just like sparked me getting back into Dragon Ball. Of like with a little break from when I was heavy into it versus when I started watching it again. So those two stand out to me. And they
Do
seem
you guys-
like they're both new and different type like transformations for their times.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
What's your guys' favorite super moment?
Ooh. Super has a lot of good ones for me.
Super has a lot of good moments.
Okay, are we just talking like show,
No, movie too.
movie too? Then all of Broly. That's why I wanted to know, because if we're including Broly, then it's all of Broly. But if we're talking like just show,
Dude, Broly was spectacular. Oh, I'm watching it tonight. I don't care. I'm watching it again.
Yeah,
This
that
will be
was
like
an
my
event.
18th time watching it, but
Yeah.
I'm putting on the best set of headphones that I have, and this iPad is going to be right in my face.
Yeah,
And I just want to be blasted with all the Broly glory.
that was an
dude,
event.
the little scene of him dancing. Oh my god, the power up, so iconic.
Great.
Which we have that in our Discord. So if you're not in our Discord, join now for that emote.
Yeah. Frieza getting stomped for like, what was it, like an hour?
Just swing and a miss 30 minutes later.
Yeah.
Swing and a miss 30 minutes later. All right.
But if we're talking like just anime, the finale of the Tournament of Power, I think, is probably one of the biggest hype things I've ever seen in anything, where it was like people were texting me. I remember this, like friends were texting me like, did you see it? Did you watch the finale? Did you see that? And I mean, you can look up I think it's in Brazil.
Brazil and Japan had like
The watch party, like out in public, and everybody's freaking out at what they're watching.
Bro.
And Goku and Frieza are attacking Jiren, but Goku's going in and out of Super Saiyan because this is the last bit of his power, and so is Frieza. Oh, so good.
I remember before I even watched the episode, I saw a spoiler on YouTube, and I was like, no way. Like, no way, no way. And I was hyping by myself randomly before I watched that episode. And the amount of like, I felt like FOMO from that moment. And then seeing the reactions for all this, I'm like, this is a moment in time where I wish I would have. It was event level stuff that I just.
Dude, they broke Crunchyroll. I remember like from.
Yeah.
Oh no. I wasn't able to watch it like as it came out,
Right.
because I wasn't catching up with Super at that time. But I remember always hearing about, and all my friends always referencing like, damn, like that shit broke and just didn't work for a couple hours. That's crazy to take down a whole freaking website just for the traffic coming in to watch an episode.
Yeah. It's
One Piece could never.
One Piece can never. One Piece can never. That's not even slanderous at all. That's just facts. Like, people and all their fake, I'm a Gear 5 fan. No, you ain't. You're just here to see something cool. And even then, it was kind of sucky. It was. Come at me. Don't care. Any Dragon Ball transformation is better than Gear 5 transformation. I was gonna say that my next big one is probably a recent one, but like Beast Gohan.
Oh,
and the special beam cannon.
Oh my god,
nasty!
I want to rewatch that movie.
Broly and Superhero, they're just like. I think I put Broly ahead of Superhero. I like Superhero a lot.
Ahead of a lot of things too.
But Broly is just like a god tier movie, story, animation, audio, score. Disgusting. If you've never seen that and you're watching this, just call off work. You are sick. We'll send you a 0.3 email just, saying like, hey, guess what? I can't come in today. watch it twice. Just watch it. As soon as you're done, run it back.
Because you will want to watch it again.
So
back to back.
good.
It is insane, like the quality of movie you get in that.
Oh my gosh. His art style is just second to none for me. And I think that movie did one of the best jobs of taking what he did on the pages and
Oh yeah, I love the
in anime.
animation
Like
in
it accentuated so many good things that he does, and you see every version of something that he did, from base to god to blue to fusion to just, oh my gosh, like oh, the manga's so good right now too.
The manga is heating up too. What's the author's name? Torotama.
Toya Toro.
He's doing a good job. He's been doing a good job for a minute now.
Yeah,
I think people don't realize that the super manga is actually pretty good.
Yeah,
you're missing out if you're not reading that. But
I'm not too caught up on it. It's almost set. I've heard some crazy stuff.
Worth a binge.
Yeah,
I think it's worth a binge.
I think so too. Yeah, you definitely should. If you haven't, I think you should, Brandon. But yeah, all of this goes to show that this type of conversation, this level of hype and excitement that you've seen us talk about for the past 40-ish minutes does not happen without the beautiful, beautiful work of Akira Toriyama.
Yeah.
So thank you for everything that you did. All the childhood moments that he inspired, all of the memories, friendships, I'll dare to even say kids that we will continue to influence with your work. An impact that will continue to have for generations to come.
Yeah, this embodies exactly what we say when we close every show. To keep reading Dragon Ball, keep watching it and nerd out about it. Don't be shy about your love and an expression for Dragon Ball at any point, whether it's Z, Super, the original, you're reading it, you're watching it, however, sub, dub, like it doesn't matter. Like just experience it. It's great, and you can experience it in a way that we couldn't when we first were kind of running through this today. But you still get all the same great things. That's how good it is. So yeah, this is a great one. Got anything else, Spider Brando?
No. Besides, I want a Dragon Ball tattoo now.
3-star.
Ooh. I don't know what of.
0.3.
I don't know what of. 3-star would be good.
Can we get
7-star,
that? Can we get like our 0.3 logo on a Dragon Ball?
That'd be sick.
You can talk to our artist.
Yeah, we're spinning. We're taking that offline. Sorry, you guys. If you want to figure that out, that's the Discord thing that you got to ask about.
Yeah.
But everyone, we appreciate all of you. Let us know your favorite Dragon Ball moment down in the comments. If you haven't put one, put another one. I'm sure there's more than one that you can put in there. But with that, everyone, we will see you next Wednesday, 9:05 Eastern. But until then, keep watching, keep reading, keep nerding out.